Hello, everyone. Welcome to another TGIF episode of the Anti-Pharmacist podcast. And I'm especially happy today because this is the 50th episode of this podcast. Imagine, from the very first episode till now, you guys have been with me, and I couldn't be more glad to have you. Thank you so much for your support so far, because it really hasn't been easy, honestly. Recording, editing, and dropping 2 episodes each week for a whole 7 months. It's not been easy, guys. It's been a roller coaster, and I thank you so much for supporting me up to this point. I see your comments, I see your subscriptions, I see your follows, your reviews on the podcast hosting channels, and I couldn't be more happier. Thank you so much. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for your encouragement. And I hope that I will be able to do this for a long time with your help and support, of course. Thank you so much, guys. So, on today's episode, TGIF episodes are usually about general health topics, not particularly or necessarily about drugs, right? So there's been this thing on my mind for the longest time, and I was looking for an avenue to just express it. So I thought, what better way to express it than on my podcast? And, just using it to mark my 50th episode, which is why the topic of today's episode is mental health and disability. Yes, mental health has been the rave recently. People are more aware, we talk a lot. There are many conversations about mental health, and we all know now, most people at least know, that health is not just about your physical well-being. It has to do with your holistic well-being, both physical, social, mental, and what have you. I realize that a lot of people in the society are oblivious to a group of people. It's like they do not even know that there are people living with disabilities in the world. Maybe because of their circles, maybe because of their work, they really don't get to meet them. So they are oblivious to them or their needs. They don't see it as, anything. They believe that the disabled people are beggars on the street. But this is not so. You see, there was a time even that albinism was seen as a big deal. There was this stigma attached to it until some people started having albinos in their families. Then they started seeing them differently. Some insensitive comments and words are passed about them, and even some jokes that are really not funny, about albinos. But disability cuts across many, facets of life. It's not just about physical. Now, there's the awareness about autism as well, which is another form of disability. You see, and these disabled people, most of them were not born that way. We know that, of course, there are people that are disabled because they were born that way due to congenital abnormalities or teratogenicity that led to being born with disabilities. But some of them, they were not born that way. Some people had accidents, they became blind, they became crippled or disabled in a kind of way, or deformed. There are even people whose disabilities are due to illnesses like diabetes. Some people have to be amputated after it has gotten to a point. Some have nerve dysfunction, some have arthritis that's limited their movement, some have Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, dementia, attention deficit hyperkinetic disorders, that is ADHD, and lots like that. That should not make us treat them any less than normal, in quote, human beings, okay? And according to WHO, 1.3 billion people worldwide experience significant disability. This is about 16% of the world's population. And statistics shows that people with disability die up to 20 years earlier than those without disabilities, because they have twice the risk of developing conditions such as depression, asthma, diabetes, stroke, obesity, or poor oral health. And they face many health inequities. In the society, hardly will you see places that actually give preference to people with disabilities. I don't know how to put it better. It's like they really are not well represented, or they are just overlooked. You see, inequities arise from unfair conditions faced by them, like stigma, discrimination, poverty, exclusion from education and employment, and barrier faced in the health system itself. Okay, but my major focus today is that stigmatization, how we treat people with disabilities in the society. Okay, you see somebody now with knocked knees that does not walk like a normal person walks. You should not fix your eyes on them and start looking at them like you are in a circus. Okay, just look once and look away, because they themselves, they already know their limitations. They most likely already have that inferiority complex. Some of them have anxiety going out and interacting with people because of their disability. Now, you are making it more obvious, or you are magnifying it for them. It is not good. Like I said, a lot of people treat people with disabilities as if they are lesser humans. Unless it now happens to you, God forbid, or somebody then you get it better. I've attended to people who are deaf and could not speak, alright? But you should just treat them like normal human beings and attend to them, or talk to them, or interact with them according to their own peculiarity. Okay, so we should be more mindful of how we treat other people, especially those with disabilities. You see someone that has a kind of deformity on their face, don't look at them too much. Don't be with your friend and start whispering and start looking at them like 2-3 times. You are making them feel self-conscious, which they already feel anyway. You understand? Today is not World Disability Day or anything, but like I said, it has been something that has been on my mind. I've seen different scenarios in which people just overlook people with disabilities. People treat them differently, not in a good way, by the way. And like I said, disability is not just physical. It's not until you see somebody that has a big sore on their leg, maybe they are managing a condition that is not really improving, and then there's this smell emanating from it. You don't have to start holding your nose right in front of them. It is disrespectful. You could excuse yourself. You don't have to say, Lane, please, so let me go and look for face mask. It is wrong. I believe that the way we treat people is a reflection of who we are, and I'm sure that most of you will agree with me. Let us treat people with respect. Let's be human together, even if that disability you think it is of their own making. I'm sure that they didn't get into it knowing that it would end that way. So treat them better. If you are in a position to help them in any way, please offer your help and help. So I'll be leaving tips on how to actually relate with people with disability in the society. So when you are dealing with somebody with a disability, maybe they did not come alone, obviously because of the disability. They came with somebody who does not have any disability. Talk to them directly, not to the other person. Because by talking to them directly, it makes them feel seen, not sidelined or ignored. Talk to them directly. If it is somebody on a wheelchair, get down to their level and talk to them, interact with them. Like I said, a lot of these people are not beggars like we think. Some are very highly educated. Some work in very good establishment before these things happen to them. So don't see them like they are just non-entities. I'm saying this because a lot of my listeners may not be healthcare workers like myself. You might be working in an environment, in an office building, or in anywhere. You could meet these people anywhere, even in the marketplace. Let's interact with them with respect. Show courtesy, okay? If you wish to get the attention of somebody that is deaf, for example, just tap the person gently on the shoulder or their arm. Look directly at them. Speak. Some of them can read lips. And if you believe that they can't read your lips, maybe you are a fast talker, use your sign. It's not by force to learn sign language if you don't know it. You could even get a pad and write what you want to write. Some of them are learned. And if they are not, I'm sure that there will be somebody around them that would help you communicate with them. Do you understand? Use short, simple sentences, okay? And if the person uses a sign language interpreter, speak directly to the person, not the interpreter. You understand? Let's include them in society. It makes them feel part of us, and it decreases the risk of them coming down with mental health issues like anxiety, like depression. A lot of them, they are even afraid to go out in the first place because of how people will perceive them. Now imagine treating them less than they should be treated. If a person has speech impairment, for example, and you are having difficulty understanding what he or she is saying, ask the person to repeat themselves. Try to listen better this time and repeat back what you think you heard to ensure effective communication. Don't pretend that you understand them and then do something else. That makes them even more self-conscious and makes them feel offended. If you believe that somebody with disability, for example, needs assistance, don't just go ahead and hold them or assist them. Ask for their permission first. Can I help you with this? You see that they are working some kind of way and they have a heavy load. You can just offer to assist them. Can I help you with this to your car or to wherever you're going or to wherever I can help you to? They will appreciate it and you just grab it. You cannot carry it, it's too heavy for you. And they feel somehow. If somebody is on a wheelchair, for example, and they are maybe stuck, they have difficulty moving past a threshold, you can offer your assistance and help them. But please don't treat them less than human. And if you are interviewing for a job candidate with disability, listen to what they have to offer. Don't look at them beyond that disability. Okay? Don't make assumptions about what they can or cannot do. You'll be surprised sometimes what these people can do. If you are speaking to a blind person, be sure to identify yourself at the beginning of the conversation. Don't just walk in on them like that. Announce when you are leaving as well. Okay? And if you are speaking with somebody with cognitive disability, you may need to repeat yourself over and over again and speak in the simplest terms to make them understand. Okay? If, for example, you see somebody that has a kind of disability you've never seen and you are tempted to withdraw from them, just try and control yourself. Don't make it so obvious that you are averse to this person, which you shouldn't be in the first place. But then their reflex actions, we cannot rule that out. But calm yourself and speak to them. People can have some deformities on the face, on the body, on the arms. There are many kinds of disabilities. Please, that is what I've decided to use this episode for, to actually bring your attention to the fact that there are people in the society that might not have the physical components like we do, or even the mental acuity that every normal person does. But that does not make them less human. If they had the choice, they will not be in that position. So please treat them right. Be courteous to people. Treat others like you want to be treated. Okay? They are part of the society. Include them. Don't exclude them. This will improve their life expectancy. It makes them happy. There are people in the society with dwarfism, for example. Now they are doing well. They are in media, marrying normally developed women or men, giving birth, and they are living their lives. So please don't see somebody who is a dwarf, for example, and start treating them like they are nobody. It shouldn't be. Let's look at people beyond their physical or mental disabilities. Let's be human together. And that is exactly what I've come to tell you today. I hope that you've been able to take something from it. And if you have been behaving some kind of way to people with disabilities, I hope that this will convince you to do better. Okay? Thank you once again for listening up to this point. I really appreciate you. I'll see you on Monday. Alright? Do not forget, like or share, subscribe to this podcast, please. I need you to keep going. Follow me on my social media handles, on IG, on LinkedIn, on X. Alright? And if there are any changes in future, if there are more social media I will be going into, I'll be letting you know in subsequent episodes. I've told you, you can always comment. I love to read your comments. Questions now. Ask your questions. That will even give me more ideas on what to talk about. Ask your questions. Tell me what you want to hear. Me explain to you about your medications or health generally. If you have collaborations for me, maybe you're a podcaster as well, like myself. You want to invite me to your podcast. You want me to collaborate on a content or the other, mail me. I have my email address, antifarmacistpodcast@gmail.com. You could even DM me on IG or X and all of that. I'll be sure to reply you. Okay? Thank you so much once again, guys. Till next time, stay healthy and God bless you.